You know that one moment when someone crosses a line so badly that you feel a fire inside you, demanding justice? That was me, the day I found out my friend's boyfriend had laid his hands on her. I'm not a fighter. I've never thrown a punch in my life, but I still found a way to destroy him. Quietly, permanently, and without ever lifting a finger. If you've ever wished you could serve cold, perfect justice to someone who deserved it, then hit that like button and subscribe. Because today's story, it's about the sweetest, most unexpected revenge I've ever pulled off. And trust me, you're going to love the payoff. Back in the days when the internet was still clunky and full of promise, I was in my early college years. Money was tight, so I just moved in with my girlfriend Lucy to split rent. Life was simple, class during the day, cheap dinners at night, and the occasional game night with friends. Honestly, it was one of the happiest stretches of my life. One night, Lucy told me she was inviting a friend from her class over for board games. Fine by me. The more the merrier. That night turned out to be better than expected. The friend's name was Sarah, and as soon as she walked in, I recognized her from high school. We weren't close back then, but we got along easily. Before long, she became a regular at our place. Game nights, movies, or just hanging out over dinner. But with Sarah came Jay, her boyfriend. Jay was the kind of guy who could walk into a room and somehow make the whole place feel colder, quiet, standoffish. The kind of person who'd sit in the corner with his arms crossed, refusing to laugh at a joke even when everyone else was nearly crying. We tried to include him, really, but he just didn't fit. Eventually, he stopped coming. Honestly, nobody missed him. At least, not until one night when Sarah showed up at our door, crying. I'll never forget the look on Lucy's face when she opened the door. Her friend standing there, shoulders shaking, tears streaking down her face. We rushed her inside, sat her down, and tried to piece together what had happened. Through sobs, Sarah told us Jay had accused her of cheating. Not just once, but constantly, every time she left the apartment. And that night it had escalated. He screamed at her, called her things no woman should ever hear from someone who claimed to love her. And when she tried to walk away, he shoved her, hard. She stumbled backward, crashed into a coffee table, and ended up with a dark bruise across her lower back. Lucy told me later she'd seen the bruise herself. I didn't, but honestly I didn't need to. I could see it in Sarah's trembling hands, in the way her voice broke every time she said his name. That was the moment the fire lit inside me. See, I'm not violent, never been in a fight, but in that instant, all I wanted was to put Jay on the floor and make sure he never hurt her or anyone again. But instead of swinging fists, my mind started working. Because, see, I had something Jay didn't. Access. At the time, I worked in the administration building of our college. As part of my job, I could see student records, fees, class schedules, even ID numbers. And the deadline to drop or add classes without penalty was just days away. That's when it hit me. If Jay thought he was clever, if he thought he could control people with fear, then it was time someone showed him what real control looked like. So I waited. On the very last day before the deadline, I sat down at one of the old, clunky enrollment phones in the admin office. Back then, you couldn't just log online and make schedule changes. You had to call. And I knew exactly what to do. I punched in Jay's student ID, heart pounding, hands sweating. And one by one, I dropped every single class he was enrolled in. But I didn't stop there. Every course that had an extra fee attached, I added it to his schedule. Lab fees, materials fees, anything that would stick him with a bill. And here's the kicker. Jay was an international student. Without enough enrolled units, his visa status was at risk. If he wasn't a full-time student, he could literally be sent back home. Did I feel guilty? For a split second, maybe. But then I pictured Sarah's bruises again. The way her voice cracked when she said, "I don't know what I did wrong." No, he deserved this. The following Tuesday, Sarah walked into her English class, the one she shared with Jay. She was nervous, scared she'd have to face him again. But what she saw instead, it was almost too perfect. The room was packed, with a new student standing in the back. No seats left. The professor took roll call, name after name. Then silence. "Jay," the teacher called. Nothing. Jay stood up. "I'm here." But the professor frowned, checked the roster, and shook their head. "You're not on my list." Jay argued, tried to insist, but it didn't matter. The official roster said he was enrolled, and that was final. Sarah told us later she never saw him in that class again. Weeks later, curiosity got the best of me. I checked the system one last time. Every class I'd swapped with fees was gone, but there were no other classes in their place. His record was empty. Did he get kicked out? Sent home? Transfer schools? I'll never know. But here's what I do know. He never laid another hand on Sarah. And to this day, whenever I think about that bruise, I don't regret a single keystroke. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't loud. It's quiet, subtle, and devastatingly permanent. Jay thought he was in control. He thought he could scare Sarah into submission. But in the end, he wasn't even in control of his own education. Watching his name erased from that roster, that was better than any punch I could have thrown. Sometimes I wonder if I went too far. But then I remember the moment you put your hands on someone out of anger, you've crossed a line you can't uncross. And if karma needed a little push that day, well, I was more than happy to help. If that revenge gave you chills, smash that like button and subscribe for more stories where justice always finds its way. And let me know in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen play out in real life?